Chargers Nation, it's that time again. The energy's rising, the pads are clashing, and yes, football is finally back in the air. If you've been waiting for signs of life from your favorite squad, look no further, because training camp is delivering, and some players are turning heads in all the right ways. The preseason game may be around the corner, but right now, the real action is happening behind the scenes. From rookies making noise to veterans holding strong, this camp is shaping up to be one of the most competitive we've seen in years. But before we dive into the freshest updates from camp, take a second, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and don't forget to ring that bell icon so you never miss an update. We're bringing you all the Chargers heat all season long. Let's go. Now let's talk training camp. And trust me, it's not just the usual drills and scrimmages. We're seeing flashes of brilliance that could very well shape the 53-man roster in the coming weeks. One name on everyone's lips: Trey Harris. The rookie wideout out of Ole Miss is starting to show signs that he's ready for the spotlight. After a quiet start, he's had what might be his first real breakout day at camp, making tough catches, running crisp routes, and proving why the Chargers took a chance on him in the second round. And let's not forget the bigger picture: the search for a legitimate WR2 to pair with Ladd Mackey. With Mackey holding strong as WR1, the coaching staff and fans are eager to see who steps up. Could Harris be that guy? Or could we see a familiar face return? There's also been buzz around Keenan Allen. Yes, that Keenan Allen, who recently worked out with the Chargers. And from what we're hearing, there's a very real chance, I'd say north of 80%, that he's back in powder blue soon. Imagine the impact that would make. The roster battles are just heating up, and the preseason will only turn that dial higher. We'll be watching closely, because the next big star might just be catching passes right now at training camp. So stay locked in, Chargers fans. We've got much more coming, including camp highlights, depth chart projections, and our predictions for week 1. Don't miss out. Subscribe now, and ride with us all season long. I'll catch you in the next update. Bolt up. Let's be honest, the wide receiver room last season left a lot to be desired. Dropped passes, lack of separation, and very little consistency. So coming into this year, everyone's been holding their breath, waiting to see who's going to rise above the noise. Enter Trey Harris. It wasn't the smoothest start. In fact, his preseason debut in the Hall of Fame game had people scratching their heads. No catches, barely any separation, and a performance that felt muted. You could chalk it up to shaky quarterback play, but still fans were left wondering, where's the guy we saw at Ole Miss lighting up sec defenses? Now, to be fair, his offseason didn't exactly begin on the right foot either. That brief contract dispute may not have lasted long, but in a league where chemistry is everything, missing time matters, especially for a rookie trying to earn his quarterback's trust. Meanwhile, while Harris was playing catch-up, others were seizing their moment. Kendra Lambert-Smith came in hot, turning heads with explosive plays and crisp routes. Some even started whispering that Harris might get left behind. But here's the thing about football: momentum can shift in an instant, and that moment may have just arrived. With Ladd Mackey sidelined, nothing major, just precautionary stuff, the reps at WR1 suddenly opened up. And Trey Harris? He didn't just step in, he showed up. Route after route, rep after rep. He's finally starting to look like the guy we hoped for. And the most important part, Justin Herbert is noticing. You can see the early signs of chemistry forming, the kind of rhythm that doesn't happen overnight. Herbert is one of those quarterbacks who plays with guts. He'll take shots downfield if he believes his guy is going to make the play, but that belief has to be earned. Slowly, you get the feeling Trey Harris is doing exactly that. Sure, Kendra Lambert-Smith and Aronte Gadsden are still very much in the conversation, and rightly so. Both have been impressive. But no one has gained more from this unexpected opportunity than Trey Harris. If he keeps trending this way, the quiet start might soon be forgotten. What matters now is how he finishes. One thing you learn quickly about Justin Herbert: if you earn his trust, he'll feed you the ball. And lately, Trey Harris has been cashing in on that trust, big time. With Ladd Mackey taking some time off to recover, the offense needed a spark, and Harris didn't just step up. He took over. Day by day, rep by rep, he's beginning to look like the guy when it comes to crucial downs. That third down magnet, that might be Trey Harris now. We're not just talking about one or two flashy catches. We're talking repeatable, clutch moments, the kind that make a quarterback raise an eyebrow and think, yeah, I can go to you again. In practice yesterday, Harris converted 3 third downs, and each one said something different about who he is as a receiver. The first? A tough, physical grab over the middle on a deep crossing route. Defender draped all over him, but Harris held firm and pulled it in. That's the kind of play that says, I'm not here to run routes. I'm here to win them. The second, another crossing route, cleaner this time, space created, hands extended, secured the ball in stride. It's those midfield windows where trust is built, and Harris is sliding into them like a vet. The third? The highlight. 3rd and 5, back shoulder ball from Herbert with Nico Reed in tight coverage. Harris adjusted midair, turned, and snagged it like he's been doing this on Sundays for years. That's not rookie energy. That's pro-level poise. This is where it gets exciting. Harris isn't just showing flashes. He's showing the right flashes. Contested catches, sharp route running, an ability to shield defenders with his body. It's starting to look a little familiar, isn't it? No, he's not Mike Williams. But you can feel echoes of that big-bodied, go up and get it threat, only with his own twist. Harris brings that sec polish from Ole Miss, especially on dig routes and deep crosses. And when he's locked in with Herbert, the potential is obvious. 4 catches on 5 targets. All meaningful, all momentum shifting. And look, it's not about the numbers right now. It's about what those reps represent. They're turning into chemistry. And that chemistry is starting to look like it belongs on the field when it counts. This is the version of Trey Harris fans have been waiting for. And if this keeps up, he's not just making up for lost time, he's making a statement. One of the more intriguing storylines coming out of camp isn't just about routes, stats, or highlight reels. It's about chemistry. And Trey Harris. He's leaning into something few rookies even think about this early. Improv. Yeah, that unscripted, chaotic, make it up on the fly magic you usually associate with guys like Mahomes and Kels. Harris isn't just running clean routes. He's learning how to read Justin Herbert's eyes, feel the pocket collapsing, and adjust mid-play to make something happen. That kind of awareness, the ability to break off a route and freelance based on what your quarterback's doing, takes confidence, vision, and guts. And Harris is already talking about it like a seasoned pro. In recent interviews, he mentioned how he's watching Herbert just as much as Herbert is watching him. It's almost like a silent dialogue. If Herbert scrambles left and Harris sees space open up, he's not sticking to a dead route. He's moving, shifting, offering himself up as a target, because he knows Herbert is capable of hitting him in tight windows others wouldn't dare try. And that's the real takeaway. Herbert isn't afraid to throw those tight window darts. He's looking for guys who give him a reason to believe. And Trey Harris, as the current WR1 in practice, is giving him plenty of reasons right now. That's what makes this feel different from the early concerns after the Hall of Fame game. What looked like a slow start may just have been a delayed launch. And now we're seeing a young receiver who's not just learning the playbook, he's learning how to freelance within it. That's rare. Now let's shift gears to something that may have flown under the radar, but could be a massive turning point for the offense. Earlier today, Jim Harbaugh gave some clarity on what we've all been wondering about, the offensive line. Stability up front has been one of his clear goals this camp, and it sounds like the starting 5 has finally been locked in. From left to right, it looks like this is the lineup we're going to be seeing more of as camp rolls on. Rashawn Slater anchoring the blind side, Zion Johnson holding strong next to him. Continue the list if there's more info you'd like added here. Harbaugh's philosophy is simple. No musical chairs. Find your 5, build cohesion, and let them gel together before the real tests begin. If this group can stay healthy and build that rhythm, it changes everything for Herbert. And for receivers like Trey Harris, who need that extra half second to turn a 10-yard dig into a 40-yard bomb, things are clicking. You can feel it. And just wait. We've got more to talk about, including Kendra Lambert-Smith, who's making a case of his own. But that's coming up next. So let's talk about the big men up front, the offensive line. because the picture is finally starting to come into focus. From left to right, the expected five are taking shape. Rashawn Slater, Zion Johnson, Bradley Bozeman anchoring the middle, flanked by Mai Becton, and Joe Alt on the outside. Now, this setup isn't a surprise. It's the configuration most of us had penciled in months ago. Still, the path to get here wasn't exactly straight. We saw the staff experimenting, Zion at center, Bozeman at guard, shuffling pieces to see what clicked. But at the end of the day, there's a reason linemen are drafted for a specific role. Rewiring someone to switch positions in one offseason? That's a huge ask, even for talented guys. Settling Bozeman back in at center? That's logical. But it also brings the biggest question mark. Let's be real, last season wasn't his best. In fact, it was rough. If this group is going to succeed, Bozeman has to play at a much higher level. Maybe being sandwiched between Becton and Zion gives him the boost he needs. Good linemen make each other better, and positioning Bozeman between two athletic, smart guards could help settle him down and unlock the version of him this offense needs. Zion Johnson, meanwhile, is entering a crucial stretch in his career. This needs to be the year he steps forward, not just holds the line, but dominates it. Where the optimism starts to taper off a bit is with the depth. Beyond that starting five, things feel thin. Sure, we've heard encouraging things about Sayre, and Trey Pipkins remains a decent swing tackle. But this unit doesn't feel as rotation-ready as others on the roster. If an injury hits, or someone has to shift roles mid-season, it might not be as smooth as fans would hope. And it's wild because, across most positions, the Chargers have done a fantastic job building quality depth. Just not quite here. Not yet. Now on the flip side, the defensive trenches, a whole different story. This unit is starting to pop. The tone is more aggressive, more physical, and TR Tart is leading that charge. Every day at camp, he seems to be making his presence known, blowing up plays, clogging lanes, and showing the kind of relentless energy that wins on Sundays. He's not alone either. Jamari Caldwell has strung together a few impressive reps, flashing solid instincts and quickness. Tito Abonia has had some standout moments too, the kind of growth you want to see from someone trying to earn a permanent role. But right now, it's Tart who's commanding the spotlight. He's playing with an edge, the kind of physicality you want as the identity of your front seven. You can see it. He's not just in position, he's disrupting position. And in camp, that's the difference between a guy who makes the team and a guy who makes an impact. When Harbaugh came in, the expectation was that the trenches would be a priority, build from the inside out, create a line of scrimmage identity. And slowly but surely, it's starting to feel like that vision is coming alive, especially on defense. There's still room to grow, especially on the offensive line. But if this group stays healthy, and the chemistry continues to develop, the foundation is being laid for something real. What a difference a few weeks make. At the start of camp, there were real concerns on the defensive interior. With Poona Ford heading to the Rams, it felt like a hole had been punched right in the middle of the line, a position you cannot afford to be soft at. But now, TR Tart is flipping that whole narrative on its head. He's not just filling a gap, he's owning it, consistently finding his way into the backfield, disrupting plays before they develop, making life miserable for quarterbacks and running backs alike. He's bringing exactly the kind of physical presence this team needed after Ford's departure. And if you've been watching closely, this isn't just a hot streak, it's a pattern. He's active, aggressive, and reading plays with confidence. It's early, but the signs are there. Tart might be the next big body the Chargers turn into a serious problem for opposing offenses. But if the defensive line is giving us quiet confidence, the wide receiver room, it's straight up electric right now. Last year's group was one of the thinnest spots on the roster, battered by injuries and lacking depth behind Ladmaki. Herbert was throwing to whoever could stand upright by week 10. The offense had no rhythm, no spacing, no vertical bite. That's all changing fast. Training camp has turned into a highlight reel. We already knew Ladmaki was going to shine. He's looked as polished as ever, and there's no question he's WR1. But what's caught everyone off guard, in the best way possible, is how stacked the group behind him suddenly looks. The biggest breakout name? Kendra Lambert-Smith. After the Hall of Fame game, people finally started saying his name with some weight. But even before that, you could see the potential bubbling. He's explosive, smooth in his routes, and has a knack for finding separation on deep balls. He's not just fast, he's strategic. And now, it feels like the Chargers are actually building him into the game plan. That deep threat role, he's starting to claim it. What was once maybe 100 yards this season kind of projection is now inching toward. Wait, is this guy about to have a real rookie impact? And it's not just KLS. Darius Davis, long pegged as just a returner, is starting to look like a legit offensive option. He's showing more than just speed. He's running clean routes, staying sharp out of his breaks, and catching the ball in traffic. Jalen Johnson made jaws drop with a 55-yard touchdown catch in practice, the kind of play that reminds you how deep the talent pool might be. Oronde Gadsden, yes, you might have seen the name floating around. He's quietly stacking solid reps and earning trust from the staff. This isn't just competition, it's transformation. A wide receiver room that was once hanging by a thread is now brimming with youth, explosiveness, and upside. And for Justin Herbert, that's gold. Because when you give a quarterback of his caliber real options, real depth, and a few deep threats, you're giving him the tools to go from productive to dangerous. Let's shift the spotlight for a moment, not to a wide receiver, but to someone who's quietly becoming one of the most important pass catchers on this roster. The tight end room has been starving for a reliable receiving threat, and suddenly, it looks like we've got one. In recent practices, Justin Herbert has been connecting deep with a tight end who's starting to show up in all the right moments. It's not just one or two catches. It's the consistency, the rhythm, that's beginning to form. And when that kind of trust shows up in training camp, you better believe it's going to carry over into Sundays. It opens up a real question for the season. How does this offense get distributed? Because now it's not just who starts, it's who fits. KLS, Darius Davis, Oronde Gadsden, all these guys are proving they deserve snaps. And the coaching staff seems to be embracing that complexity instead of avoiding it. Jesse Minter has brought structure to the defense. But what's exciting is that on the offensive side, you're starting to see the same kind of clarity, even with so many moving pieces. The roster feels balanced, dangerous, deep. And just when you think you've seen everyone pop, here comes Brendan Rice. Talk about a turnaround. His rookie season had flashes, sure, but it never felt like he put it all together. Fast forward to this year's camp. The story's shifting. Rice is starting to look like a different guy, sharper, more physical, and way more confident. His most recent practice might have been his best yet. 2 touchdowns, both of them impressive. The first, a back corner fade from Trey Lance in a goal-to-go scenario. Rice goes up, bodies Dean Leonard, and pulls it down in the end zone like a receiver who's been doing this for years. The second, a deep post from DJ Uyagalele, threaded into double coverage. Most rookies don't even see that ball thrown their way. But Rice not only gets the look, he finishes the play. That's not just making the roster, that's pushing for reps. But of course, here comes the big picture dilemma. How many wide receivers can you actually carry? You can't stash everyone, and now, with strong buzz around Keenan Allen potentially returning, the math gets complicated, quick. Let's say Keenan does come back. What does that pecking order look like? Lad Mackey, clear WR1, Keenan Allen, you're not putting that chemistry on the bench. He slides in as WR2, no question. Trey Harris, rising fast, likely WR3 if his momentum continues. Quentin Johnston, penciled in at WR4 for now, but he'll need to fight to stay in that mix. Then you've got KLS, Darius Davis, Jalen Johnson, Brendan Rice, all fighting for those final spots. Suddenly, every rep matters. This wide receiver room went from thin and uncertain to loaded with upside and tough choices. Not every team has that problem. It's a good one to have. And the best part? We haven't even hit preseason week 2 yet. So here's where things get tough. We just listed 6 wide receivers likely to make the final roster. Kendra Lambert-Smith, Darius Davis, Lad Mackey, Keenan Allen, Trey Harris, and Quentin Johnston. That's already a crowded group. And yet, there's still more talent knocking at the door. Guys like Brendan Rice, Jalen Johnson, and even Luke Grimm have made it very hard to ignore what they're doing on the field. These aren't just camp bodies. These are players putting real pressure on the depth chart. It's wild to think about how thin this group looked last season, and now it's an all-you-can-eat buffet of speed, size, and playmaking ability. Let's just say, this room flipped fast, and it's going to make final cuts brutal. Now, shifting over to the other side of the ball, let's talk edge rushers. Expectations were high for Kyle Kennard, and for good reason. His college tape was explosive, but so far in camp and preseason, it's been quiet. Maybe too quiet. He struggled to find rhythm. No real splash plays yet, and that's starting to raise eyebrows, especially when other guys in the same position group are flashing consistently. One name that's coming up more and more: Caleb Murphy. Murphy has been active, disruptive, and honestly, hard to miss. He looked sharp in the Hall of Fame game, and that momentum has carried over into camp. Add Tyrus Wheat, Thomas Incoe, Yasir Abdullah, or Morris Brash, who's had a sack in practice, and suddenly you've got a legitimate logjam at edge rusher. The question becomes, how many edge rushers can you realistically keep? Kennard likely doesn't get cut, but right now, he needs a strong preseason showing to justify that confidence. There's still time, but it's ticking. And just when you think we've covered it all, along comes a breakout name nobody had circled: Nico Reed. Yeah, Nico Reed. Cornerback #46 has been a quiet storm. The interception he had in the Hall of Fame game was the kind of play that sticks. And it's not a one-off. He's backed it up with a string of solid performances in practice. That makes the DB room even more interesting. You've already got Cam Hart, Tarheeb Still, Dante Jackson, Dean Leonard, and Jasir Taylor. That's 5 names you'd assume are ahead of him. But Reed is starting to close that gap fast. He's not just competing, he's climbing. To crack this roster, he'll have to edge out players like Benjamin St. Just and Tricus Bridges, who by the way has also looked strong in camp. So now we've got a wide receiver room that's overloaded with talent, and a cornerback group where even the underdogs are making plays. If the Chargers end up finding legit depth in both of those units, it changes the whole complexion of the roster. And hey, if Nico Reed keeps this up, he's not just making the team, he might force his way into real playing time. It's exciting, it's competitive, and it's only just getting started. Oh, and for anyone wondering about Amari Hampton, yeah, we're with you. We're all ready to see more of him. Preseason's coming, and something tells me we're about to get a better look.